Hello. Welcome to our A Course in Miracles Study Groups series on the characteristics of God's teachers. In our previous videos on the characteristics of God's teachers, we have discussed the first three characteristics. Trust, believing in the truth. Honesty, knowing who we really are, the Son of God. Tolerance, releasing all judgment, enabling us to see with Christ's vision. As we fulfill our function of forgiveness, these gifts manifest in our life. And now, the fourth characteristic of God's teachers is gentleness.
Harm is impossible for God's teachers. They can neither harm nor be harmed. Harm is the outcome of judgment. It is the dishonest act that follows a dishonest thought. It is a verdict of guilt upon a brother, and therefore on oneself. It is the end of peace and the denial of learning. It demonstrates the absence of God's curriculum and its replacement by insanity. No teacher of God but must learn, and fairly early in his training, that harmfulness completely obliterates his function from his awareness. It will make him confused, fearful, angry, and suspicious. It will make the Holy Spirit's lesson impossible to learn. Nor can God's teacher be heard at all, except by those who realize that harm can actually achieve nothing. No gain can come from it.
The Course tells us that at the center of the ego's thought system is the need to deny the truth, in essence, to lie. It is the ego's lies that tell us that sin, guilt, and attack are the answer. Harm first before you are harmed. But this just keeps the ego alive and closes our mind to the true answer, the truth of the Holy Spirit, that harm harms us all. There is no gain for anyone. Our guilt grows as we project it onto another through judgment and attack. It doesn't lessen as the ego would have us believe. It only lessens as we are willing to forgive instead of attack, to be gentle instead of harmful.
Therefore, God's teachers are wholly gentle. They need the strength of gentleness, for it is in this that the function of salvation becomes easy. To those who would do harm, it is impossible. To those to whom harm has no meaning, it is merely natural. What choice but this has meaning to the saying? Who chooses hell when he perceives a way to heaven? And who would choose the weakness that must come from harm in place of the unfailing, all-encompassing, and limitless strength of gentleness? The might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness, for they have understood their evil thoughts came neither from God's Son nor his Creator. Thus did they join their thoughts with him who is their source. And so their will, which always was his own, is free to be itself.
If evil thoughts come from neither God's Son nor his Creator, they must come from the illusion of the ego, the belief in sin, which can be corrected by the miracle, the belief in innocence. By learning our forgiveness lessons through the Holy Spirit, our mind is freed from the ego thoughts of sin and evil, attack and harm. We live in the strength of God's will, which is our own. We are safe and sane, loving and gentle. The next characteristic of God's teachers is joy.
Joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. The gentle have no pain, they cannot suffer. Why would they not be joyous? They are sure they are beloved and must be safe. Joy goes with gentleness as surely as grief attends attack. God's teachers trust in Him, and they are sure His teacher goes before them, making sure no harm can come to them. They hold His gifts and follow in His way, because God's voice directs them in all things. Joy is their song of thanks. And Christ looks down on them in thanks as well. His need of them is just as great as theirs of Him. How joyous it is to share the purpose of salvation.
The Course tells us that it is not joy we experience when we get something that we want. That is pleasure. But pleasure changes into pain when we lose what we have. The Course also tells us that our unhappiness, our sadness, our depression, our lack of joy, all stems from believing the ego's lie that our innocence is lost, it is gone forever. Joy is when we know the Holy Spirit has kept our innocence safe forever. Joy comes with love. As we remove the obstacles, the blocks that we have made of sin, guilt, and fear through the miracle of forgiveness, joy fills our mind. It is the joy of the Holy Spirit that extends through us as we choose the truth. We are innocent. We never did leave our home. Separation from God never happened. We are His one Son. Our joy is our thanks to Him. And when we know true joy, we can enjoy the world. We can enjoy what there is. We can enjoy what we have without getting confused about what is our true salvation, about what is the true source of our joy. Let the miracle of forgiveness reveal these gifts from God. Gentleness, extending His love and peace. Joy, glowing with gratitude.